Welcome to the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, the show that puts the spotlight on the incredible women who fuel the world of motorsports. From drivers to crew members, engineers to fans, and everyone in between, we're here to celebrate the trailblazers, dreamers, and doers shaping the sport we love. Each episode, we share inspiring stories of females of all ages, from every corner of the motorsports universe, past, present, and future. It's a journey through the seasons of life filled with heartfelt moments, laughter, and a whole lot of horsepower. So whether you're a lifelong fan, a racer yourself, or simply curious about the extraordinary women behind the wheel, settle in, relax, and enjoy a fun and uplifting ride with us. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, connecting and celebrating women in motorsports, one story at a time. Let's hit the track. Hello, everyone. This is Melinda Russell with the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. And I have a brother-sister team today as my guest, Ashlyn and Jax Wittmer. If you recently were following the events at the Tulsa Shootout, you may have seen some information about them go across social media because they both were there and they had a lot of success there. And so I wanted to have them on and talk to them not only about the Tulsa Shootout, but also, you know, when you race, your brother races, your sister races, how does that all work and everything. But first, Ashlyn, I want you to just tell us a little bit about yourself, like maybe how old you are, do you have any pets, that kind of thing.
I'm 8 years old and I have a dog named Lucy.
Okay. And Jax, how about you?
I'm 10 years old and I have a dog named Lucy.
Yeah, same dog. That's cool. What kind of dog is it, Jax?
A Yorkshire.
Okay. All right. Fun kind of a dog to play with. Yeah, for sure. So, Jax, we're going to start with you because you started racing first. How old were you when you started racing and who got you interested in it?
I started racing at 4.5 years old, and I started racing because everyone in my family has raced, and they all had really good success.
Okay, so you wanted to be a part of that, huh?
Yeah.
All right. And then Ashlyn, I guess you wanted to be part of it too. How did you get started?
My whole family raced, so I wanted to race too. And my first time out, I just got hooked.
Yeah, it just gets in your blood, doesn't it? You just want to race. Yeah, for sure. So, Ashlyn, what's your favorite thing about being in motorsports?
My favorite thing about it is just everyone is so nice, and all the girls compete against the boys.
Yeah. And Jax, he's shaking his head. What's your favorite thing?
Winning.
Winning. Oh, see the difference between a boy and a girl? She's making friends and building relationships, and he wants to win. So that's what I hear. That's typical. That's so fun for sure. So, Jax, how did you feel when your sister said she wanted to race too?
I was honestly really excited.
Good.
I was telling her like to race, and when she turned 4.5, she started racing.
Yeah. And so you were a big encouragement to her for sure. And Ashlyn, are you the youngest in your family?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're carrying up the caboose there, and there's nobody behind you to cheer on to race with the family. But who in your family races besides the two of you? You said your whole family races.
My mom still races, but not as much because of me and my brother. And my dad used to race.
Okay. So they've kind of stepped aside and let you guys take over, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about what do you race? What kind of a car do you race? So Jax, we're going to start with you. Tell me about your car.
I race quarter midgets and junior sprints.
Okay.
The junior sprint has a wing on it, and that's what I raced at the Tulsa Shootout, and I got second. And The quarter midgets have no weighing asphalt. You can race them on asphalt and dirt. And I won at Indianapolis Motor Speedway with them.
Wow. That's pretty cool. So, Ashlyn, what do you race?
I raced the same thing, but I finished 5th in Tulsa, and I never won an Indianapolis Motor Speedway win.
Well, not yet, but you've got plenty of time to do it. So we know you're going to for sure, right? So, how many, Jax, do you know how many kids there were, or adults, whoever you were racing against? How many there were in your, I know there's a million racers out there, but how many started and then you ended up second? Do you know?
There was 107 that signed up for the event, and the top 20 made it to the A main, and I ended up finishing second.
Yeah. Wow. Wow is all I got to say about that. And were your parents excited?
Yes.
Did they cry?
Yeah.
I would have cried if you'd have been my kid. Oh, that's pretty fun. And Ashlyn,
I finished fifth.
Wow. Out of about how many? Now, were you racing? You weren't racing against each other, were you?
We were.
Oh, well, how does that go?
Actually, pretty good.
Pretty good, because you second and fifth. Do you ever run into each other, or do you do your best not to hit your brother or sister?
Yeah, I was passing her once in the quarter midget, and I accidentally flipped her.
Oh, Jax, and she still wants to sit next to you today? She's not mad at you? You didn't get hurt, did you, Ashlyn? No. Okay, that's good. So, wow. So you race against each other. Ooh. That seems like that might be hard sometimes. Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because you're both pretty good. And sometimes Ashlyn will win and sometimes Jax will win. But that's okay, right? As long as one of you wins or does good. Yeah, for sure. So, Jax, when you got second, what were you thinking about? Like, did you have a lot of confidence? You knew you could do it, but then when you actually got second, how does that feel when you are such a big race and there's all those people watching and there's all those competitors that you beat? How does that make you feel at 10 years old?
It makes me feel super confident in my skills and overall how good I am in racing.
Yeah. And you just love it. And that's part of why you're so good. Yeah, for sure. Ashlyn, fifth. You saw your brother up there in front of you, so you were trying to get to him. You almost did. And were you the top finishing girl that day?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. How many were there? A lot of girls in that section, that 107 drivers? Were there a lot of girls?
There was a little bit.
A little bit.
Maybe 5.
Oh, not that many. So out of 100 and something, only about 5. Yeah. We got to get more girls out there, don't we? Yeah, for sure. So when you are up on the podium, Jax, that's pretty exciting. Did they interview you for Flow Racing?
Yeah, they interviewed me on heat race day for Flow, and then a main day for Flow also. And I also got to stand on the big stage and get interviewed by the person that interviews the top 3 drivers.
I know. I saw you. I saw you on Flow Racing. Ashlyn, were you proud of your brother?
Yes, very proud.
And I know he was proud of you too. Top 10. Well, top 5. I mean, but usually we say if you make it in the top 10, that's pretty good. We're always looking to be top 10. Top 5's even better. So, what is your favorite thing? I know you said making friends in that, but why do you go to the racetrack every weekend instead of playing baseball or going to dance recitals or whatever it might be? What is it that makes you want to go and keep racing? Jack?
It's just our favorite.
It's just your favorite?
Yeah.
You'd rather do that than anything else?
Yes, definitely.
And why is that, Jax?
I just like it so much. I have an iRacing simulator up in my game room to practice on. I just like it so much that I'm keep encouraging my parents to go racing.
Well, they like to race, so you're one step ahead. Your parents were already involved in racing. I talked to a lot of kids who, maybe one parent raced or whatever, but you guys have the benefit of having parents that know what it's like to race, and so they understand why you love it so much, for sure.
Yeah.
So did you make any new friends while you were out there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, not
No.
really.
Not really. Did you already
we met
know?
some people.
Did you know a lot of the kids that were there that were racing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So a lot of the same kids probably travel and race against you wherever you go, right?
Yes. Most of them.
Okay. So what is your like home track? Do you have a track where you race more often than not, or do you do a lot of traveling? Either one of you can answer.
We race at locally. We race at Phoenixville and Honeybrook, but we race nationally and regionally too.
Okay. Do you have a favorite track, Jax?
Yeah.
What is it?
Mine's Tulsa.
Of course it is. Ashlyn, do you have a favorite track?
Same with me, Tulsa.
Tulsa. So what is it when you're at Tulsa? I mean, I saw it on Flow Racing and I haven't been there, but I'm putting that on my bucket list because it just looks so fun. And I saw so many people that were there that I know and I've interviewed, but maybe I haven't met in person. I need to get out there and actually watch those people race. So I'm going to put that on my list of places to go. But what is it that makes that so fun? I mean, it just looks like constant racing, kind of like a big party almost. Ashlyn, what is it that makes that so fun?
It feels like a party.
It does?
Yeah, it's super fun and everything is just amazing out there.
Yeah. Is it kind of chaotic? Like there's a lot of stuff going on all at the same time?
Yes.
Yeah. And so do you have to like really listen and pay close attention so that you know when it's your turn? Because it also looked to me like boom, as soon as one race was over, they started another one. You had to really be on your toes and prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what parents are for, right?
Yeah.
That and to feed you. Make sure that they have nutrition for you for sure.
My
Yeah.
mom always calls me and tells me to get back to the car. You're gonna go out soon.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you can get busy watching other people and then all of a sudden, whoa, it's your turn to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So have you had Ashlyn's memories probably when her brother flipped her, but we'll start with you, Jax. Do you have a favorite racing memory?
Probably when I won at Indianapolis.
Yeah. And when was that? Was that in the summer?
I was in 2023.
So, yeah. So over a year ago, a couple years ago almost now. So, okay. And what was that? Was that a big national race? What was that you were racing?
Yeah, I was racing the quarter midgets there, and there was over 500 cars total.
Yeah. That's a huge race. I know that. I know about that. Ashlyn, what's your favorite memory? It could be on the track. It could be anything.
My favorite memory was my first time racing and I won.
What? The first time out there you won?
Yep.
Well, somebody must have given you good advice. And where was that? Where did you win your first race?
I run it at Phoenixville.
Okay. So one of your local tracks for sure. Yeah.
Yes.
So when you're not racing, Ashlyn, what do you like to do?
I like playing sports and playing basketball and soccer.
Okay, so you play basketball and soccer and race.
Yeah.
But basketball and soccer are probably in the season when racing is over, or do they conflict?
Yeah. We are actually having a basketball game today.
Oh gosh, okay. So you have to manage all kinds of things for sure.
Yeah.
And school. Do you go to school or are you homeschooled?
We go to school.
You go to school. So, Jax, what do your friends think about you racing? And do they understand that getting second in that race or winning at Indy, do they understand what a big deal that is?
Yeah, some of my friends do, some of them don't. But one of my friends, right when I got into the classroom after Tulsa, congratulated me.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, two of them congratulated me for finishing second at Tulsa.
That's pretty cool, isn't it? That they knew that.
Yeah.
And Ashlyn, what do your friends think about you racing?
My friends think it's really cool.
Yeah.
I actually have a friend named Charlotte, and she races dirt bikes.
Oh, okay. So you have something in common with her a little bit then, don't you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's kind of fun for sure. Did you want to say something, Jax?
Yeah, the two friends that congratulated me, they both race slingshots.
Okay. All right. So they do understand that that is a big deal. Yeah, for sure. So when you started racing, Ashlyn, what was the hardest thing for you to learn?
Just to like win a championship and stuff.
Yeah. Just win enough races that you're at the top, huh?
Yes.
How about you, Jax? What was the hardest thing for you to learn?
To be consistent.
Yeah. That's hard. And that's life. I know you guys are young, but you know, even in school, one day you'll do really good in math and the next day you won't. And so we have to try to be consistent, and that's how we succeed, isn't it? By just slow and steady wins the race. I think that's what the turtle said to the hare. Slow and steady wins the race. So I'm sure you're on social media because I've seen it. Your mom and dad run your social media pages, I assume?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly my mom.
Mostly your mom. Okay. And so the name of those pages are, do you know what the name of your page is if somebody wants to follow you?
Wittmer Racing.
Yeah, Wittmer Racing. And it's Facebook. And then do you have Instagram?
Yeah, we asked. The Wittmer Racing is Instagram, and our Facebook page is Jax and Ashlyn Wittmer Racing.
Okay. All right. Because their mom, and just for you listeners, their mom's very good about letting us know where they are, what they're doing. And I love that because it's so hard for me to follow everybody that I've met. But she does a really good job of letting us know what you do. And then tagging Women's Motorsports Network always brings it to the top. So then I always know what you're going to do. So that's great. How long until your racing season starts? Do you race indoors in the winter at all?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so are you racing then, other than, I know Tulsa, but I mean like around home? Do you race indoors or do you go to special races in the winter?
Yeah. Sometimes Ohio.
Okay. Sometimes Ohio. Yeah, that wouldn't be too awfully far for you to go. Anywhere else that you go, Jax, in the winter?
Yeah, there's a racetrack. There's an indoor track in like Pittsburgh area.
Okay.
Or Harrisburg area.
Uh-huh.
And it's called Motorama. They race quarter midgets, dirt bikes, four-wheelers,
Wow.
RC cars. They have everything.
Okay. That sounds like a fun place to go for sure. But you got to work that in around basketball. Do you do any other sports, Jax, besides racing?
Yeah, I do basketball and soccer as well.
Okay. All right. Your mom's busy then, and dad getting you everywhere you need to go for sure.
Yeah, very busy.
Yeah. So, do you think this is something you want to do for a long time? Do you want to?
Yes.
Yeah. And why is that, Jax? What is it that keeps you going to the racetrack on the weekends?
It it's just really fun, and I like it so much that I don't want to stop.
Okay. How about you, Ashlyn?
Same with me. I don't want to stop at all.
You don't? Do you think about racing all the time
Um,
or a lot?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, Ashlyn, are there a lot of girls that race against you like locally, or are you kind of just the only one?
Kind of just the only one.
Do the boys treat you okay?
Yeah, the boys treat me okay.
Good, because you got a brother and he'll beat them up if they bother you, right? No, for sure. So, what's your favorite thing on race day? Ashlyn, we're going to start with you. On race day, first of all, do you have any superstitions? Do you always wear the same socks or hair tie or anything? Do you have any superstitions?
Not really.
Not really. Okay. And then what's your day look like? You get up and eat, do you eat breakfast? Do you not eat until after you race? Some people have to eat before, some people don't eat till later. What do you do?
Really eat before.
Okay. So you have breakfast, you go to the track. What's your favorite thing to eat when you're at the track?
Um, Nachos and sometimes chicken tenders.
Okay. So Jax, how about you? You get up, you eat breakfast, you go to the track, you race. What's your favorite thing to eat? We call it track food, don't we?
Yeah, I like eating chicken tenders and fries at the track.
Okay. Same as every other kid that I know, probably. Yeah. So every day is not a good day. Sometimes we have bad days at the track, unfortunately. So Jackson or Jax, how do you deal with a bad day? Let's say somebody runs into you or something happens and you don't do as well as you wanted to do. How do you deal with that?
Um, I-
The answer is not well. He does not deal with it well. We're working.
He doesn't deal with it well. Well, you're still a kid. You're 10 years old. But
That's what we're working on.
we know that every day is not going to be a winning day. One thing about racing is you're going to lose more than you're going to win. That's the first thing you need to know about getting into this sport, because if you play baseball, your team might win all but 2 games. But in racing, no matter how good you are, you're going to lose more than you're going to win. And so that's something that we just have to learn to deal with. And that's not just when you're 10, that's when you're 30 and 40 and 50, because not doing as well as we want to do or not being as successful as we had hoped is hard. It's hard. And so it's a good lesson for you to learn how to be a good sport and how to deal. So you keep working on that. Ashlyn, what do you do on a if you have a bad day? If your brother runs into you and rolls you over, what do you do?
I'm pretty good about it.
You are. Do you cry? Sometimes I would cry. No, you don't cry. You're not a crier. That's good. So you're learning that, okay, I did good this day. Tomorrow I might, but it's still fun, right?
Mhm.
It has to be fun or you wouldn't do it. If your mom and dad had to drag you to the track and you didn't really want to go, they'd probably say, okay, we're not going to do this anymore, right?
yeah.
But as long as you're excited to get up and go and race, even if it means that you may not win, then that's a good thing because it's fun for your family.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So let me see. What other questions might I have for you? Do you have a role model? Do you know what that is? When to have a role model? Okay.
Yeah.
Do either one of you have a role model?
Yeah, I
Okay.
have 2.
Okay, go ahead, Jax. Tell me who they are and why are they your role model?
My role models are Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell because they've both had crazy success. They're both really good on asphalt and dirt, and made they've both raced NASCAR.
Yeah. And they're good people.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're nice people. And that shows you that being successful and doing all that, you can still be a nice person. Did you get to meet them when you were out there in Tulsa?
Yes.
Yes, I figured you did.
I've
Yeah.
seen Kyle Larson at some NASCAR tracks,
Uh-huh.
but I haven't seen Christopher Bell yet at a NASCAR track, but I saw him at Tulsa.
Yeah. And he did good. He won, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Ashlyn, do you have any role models?
Mine is Taylor Ferns. She's super kind. She she loves to give back, and she's super good at racing.
So you know she lives in Michigan, where I live. And I know her very well. Yeah. She works for a law firm. She lives a couple hours away from me, and I've met her several times, had her on the podcast, and you're right. She loves to give back, and I think she's very encouraging to younger drivers. And yeah, and she's a wonderful person that you couldn't ask for a better role model. She's amazing for sure. Yeah. So one thing I didn't ask you, Jax, is tell me about your car or your quarter midget. What color is it? What's the number? And how did you pick the number?
So, my favorite car is a class called Senior Animal. My frame is silver, and my body panels are carbon fiber with gray and red stripes. And
Oh, no.
my number is 707 because I couldn't really think of a number, and then we were flipping through some old books, and I saw my great grandfather with a midget,
Hmm.
and the number of the midget was 707.
Well, that's a very cool story, Jax. I love that. So you're honoring the past generations of racing in your family and you're carrying it on. I love that. That's very cool. Ashlyn, tell me about your quarter midget and the number and everything.
I have 3, and my favorite one is Junior Honda, and it's pink, gray, and white.
Okay.
How I got my number was from his number. It was 707. I went through 70, and I was like, I don't really like that one, but I thought through 7, and I was like, I like that one.
Okay. So what is your number then? Just 7?
Yes, just 7.
Just 7. So we got 7 and 707. I love that. So 7 must be you guys' lucky numbers for sure. So had you been to the Tulsa Shootout before, or was this the first time?
This was the first time.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you each just race one like division, or
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And are you going to go back?
Yes.
We
We're
think
hoping
so.
that we can go back in 2025.
Yeah, I bet you do. Maybe I'll get to come and watch you race. So when you travel, do you ever come towards Michigan to race? Have you ever
Not
heard of
really.
the Not really. So we have a really active, excuse me, quarter midget, quarter midget series, whatever, in Michigan. I think it's called Midwest Thunder.
Yes. We've
Yeah.
raced one of those races.
Okay, so they race 15 minutes from my house. So you should put Kalamazoo Speedway on your bucket list of places to go. And then that would be really close and I could come and watch a race. And it's a nice facility. It really is. So yeah, put that on your list. Tell your folks I want to go to Michigan to race. It's not really a terrible long trip from where you live, from Pennsylvania, a little bit. So is there anything, let's start with you, Ashlyn. Is there anything that I haven't asked you about, either about yourself or your racing, that you wanted to share with me or tell me about today?
No, the car doesn't know I'm a girl. The car just knows I'm a driver.
That is so true. And you learned that at an early age. And I have to remind people about that all the time. The car doesn't know if you're a boy or a girl. And once you're out on the track, the people in the stands can't tell unless somebody tells them that there's a girl driving number 7, right?
Mhm.
And so the way you drive, like when you were at the Tulsa Shootout, you were just driving along, passing people, away you go. And you get out and take that helmet off, and that pretty long hair comes out from underneath. They're like, oh my gosh, it's a girl. Don't be surprised, people, when these young ladies take their helmets off and there's a girl underneath the helmet and she's been successful, because we have a lot of successful young women in motorsports, as well as we already know we've got a lot of boys that are successful, right?
Mhm.
So don't be surprised if you see the helmet come off and it's a girl under there, for sure. Anything else you want to share?
Not really.
Okay. Jax, how about you? Is there anything we didn't talk about your racing or anything at all?
Yes.
What is it?
My national series career, 2 years ago, I got a 3rd place and a 5th place in the national championship run. And then last year, or 2 years ago, in 2023, I won 2 national championships and 8 nationals.
Wow. And you were 8 years old.
Yeah, 8 and 9.
8 and 9. Yeah. So this year, you're going to try to go for another championship?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you're going to have to beat your sister. Right? No, she doesn't go for the championship?
No, she goes for the championship. I won mine in juniors.
Okay.
But this year, I moved up into a senior class, and she's still in the junior class.
Okay. I'm glad to hear that. Then you can each win, and you're not running against each other. That's good. So once you're out of quarter midgets, Jax, what's your goal? What would you like to be, if you could be any kind of race car driver when you become an adult? What would you like to drive?
A professional NASCAR driver.
Okay. All right. And Ashlyn, how about you?
I always wanted to be like a NASCAR driver.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you something. So do you know who Carson Hocevar is?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know that he's from my town?
No.
He's from Portage, Michigan. So Portage and Kalamazoo, like they overlap. You drive out of Portage and you're in Kalamazoo and you don't even know it because it's all just runs together. So Carson's parents built and ran what we call the Little Kalamazoo Speedway, a quarter midget track that I was telling you about. It's right next to what we call the big track, Kalamazoo Speedway. It's a asphalt, short track racing track. And so Carson, from the time he was little, found racing. His parents weren't involved in racing, and he went, to the track. He was like 4 years old. He got the bug. And so, long story short, he's one of the most winning drivers in quarter midgets ever. You should Google it and see. He's a wonderful young man. And now he's a NASCAR driver. And so don't ever think that you can't do it, because he raced everywhere. They went all over the place. He's an only child, and so they had the ability to take off and go and not interfere with another child's activities. But if you ever get a chance to meet him, you have to tell him that you know me, and he'll know, because I've known him since he was a little boy, probably your age, Jax. And I see him fairly often. And so he's my, well, I have several favorites, but he's my favorite NASCAR driver, of course, because he's from my hometown. But he started in quarter midgets, And so, he went from quarter midgets to late models, and then just moved on up. So, that's how it works. That's what you have to do. And you just have to put in the time, and you have to be a good loser, and you have to be a good competitor. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any other questions. Are you sure you don't have anything else that you want to tell me about?
No.
Not really.
So you're playing basketball today, Ashlyn. Is your
She
team?
is too.
Oh, both of you are. So do you have good teams?
Yes.
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 Okay. And is this through the school or like through the YMCA or something?
School.
School. Okay. All right. That's great. Well, I'm not going to keep any longer because it sounds like you got a busy day. But I really appreciate that you took time to talk to me today, because I was watching on Flow Racing and I was keeping track of where you were finishing and what you were doing. And then I was following social media for you too, so that I knew when you were racing, and I tried to make sure I was watching. So that was kind of fun, that even though I hadn't met you yet, I had somebody that I was following and could cheer on from Kalamazoo, even though I wasn't in Tulsa. But hopefully one day I'll get there and you'll be racing, or I'll get to see you somewhere racing and meet you in person, because that's what I really enjoy. I feel like now we're friends, and now when I see you in person, it'll be like seeing my old friends, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Will you tell your parents thank you again for letting you be on? And anytime that you want to share that you won something or you did something special or whatever, just when you post it on social media, just tag Women's Motorsports Network. Tell your social media lady to tag me, and then I'll know, and I can follow you easier what you're doing. And if you ever want to be on the show again and something exciting's happened, or you have a big announcement or something, just reach out. I'll always make time for you.
Yeah, we will.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You guys have a good day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Bye. Hang on a second. That's it for this episode of the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. We hope you've been inspired by the stories I shared today and feel more connected to the amazing community of women in motorsports. Remember, whether you're behind the wheel, in the pits, or cheering from the stands, your story matters. And together, we're driving change and celebrating every milestone. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who loves motorsports as much as you do. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and more incredible stories. So until next time, stay inspired, stay connected, and keep racing through life. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, where every woman's story is worth celebrating.